Pause for a second. Look at your phone. Notice the empty screen. Feel that tightness in your chest, the quiet panic that shows up when she hasn't replied. Something changed, didn't it? And the worst part is, you don't even know when it happened. You told yourself a story. That if you're patient enough, gentle enough, always there, she'll stay. That love works like a moral contract: be good, and you'll be rewarded. That if you give her your heart, she's supposed to protect it. But reality doesn't agree with you. Look around. The good guys wait. The overgivers get sidelined. The men who rearrange their lives for her convenience are the ones she takes least seriously. Why? Because nothing in nature values what is desperate to be chosen. And psychology doesn't reward neediness, it punishes it. Attraction is not built on comfort. It's built on tension. Niccolò Machiavelli understood something about human behavior that modern culture desperately tries to sugarcoat. He knew people are inconsistent, self-serving, and loyal only when it benefits them. He knew power doesn't belong to the pure-hearted, it belongs to the strategic. You're here because you're exhausted. Exhausted from mixed signals. From silent treatments. From feeling like you're always guessing while someone else controls the game. You've watched men command attention without effort while you grind for scraps of interest. And no, it's not because they're richer. Or better looking. Or luckier. It's because of frame. Over the next stretch of this video, we're going to tear down the myths you've been fed about women, romance, and connection. We're going to apply cold, strategic thinking, borrowed straight from political power dynamics, to relationships. I'm going to give you 7 psychological laws. Not gimmicks. Not pickup tricks. Mental shifts. Once these click, manipulation stops working on you forever. But understand this first: once you see how control actually works, you can't unsee it. You'll notice patterns everywhere. You'll see the strings people pull, and the strings they hope you never notice. If you're ready to stop chasing approval and start being the standard, stay with me. Let's dissect the nice guy illusion. Law 1: The economy of absence. Scarcity creates value. Here's a brutal truth: if oxygen were sold, you'd only pay for it while suffocating. Right now, you're oxygen. Free. Unlimited. Everywhere. You reply instantly. You're always available. You drop your plans the second she shows interest. You think this shows commitment. What it actually communicates is low value. Machiavelli warned that constant visibility destroys authority. The more familiar people become with you, the less weight you carry. Attraction follows the same rule. When you're always present, you eliminate imagination, the most powerful drug the human mind produces. When you're gone, her mind fills the gap. What's he doing? Who's he with? Why isn't he reaching out? That uncertainty magnifies you. But you erase it by hovering. By overexposing yourself. Control doesn't come from vanishing in bitterness, it comes from having a life that doesn't orbit her. When your time is genuinely consumed by building something, your body, your skills, your purpose, your absence isn't a tactic. It's a consequence of value. Women can sense the difference instantly. A man pretending to be busy is manipulative. A man actually busy is magnetic. Silence doesn't mean punishment. It means self-respect. When she takes hours to reply, the old version of you spirals. Double texts. Overthinks. Seeks reassurance. The strategic version of you puts the phone down, and continues his life. You don't chase distance. You stop rewarding it with anxiety. Humans instinctively pursue what retreats. If you constantly move toward her, she must step back to breathe. So stop advancing. Stand grounded in your direction. Walk toward your mission. And notice how often she turns to catch up. Remember this. Your absence has a price. Law 2, emotional variability, the power of uncertainty. The human brain loves patterns. But it obsesses over unpredictability. If a slot machine paid out every time, you'd pull the lever a few times, take the money, and walk away. Boring. No thrill. But it doesn't pay out consistently. Sometimes you win. Sometimes you lose. Sometimes you almost win. That randomness floods the brain with dopamine. Stronger than logic. Stronger than reason. It's called intermittent reinforcement, and it's the most powerful conditioning mechanism psychology has ever discovered. Most men are painfully predictable. Predictably kind. Predictably reactive. Predictably insecure. She knows exactly how to get a smile from you. She knows which words trigger guilt. She knows when you'll apologize, even when you've done nothing wrong. You're not a mystery. You're a manual she's already memorized. Why would she reread a book she knows by heart? Machiavelli advised rulers to be both feared and admired, to combine strength with cleverness. Power comes from range. You must disrupt your own patterns. If you're usually reserved, surprise her with raw intensity. If you're usually affectionate, step back and become cool, focused, analytical. Not to punish. Not to manipulate. But to remind her of a simple truth. Your attention is not guaranteed income. It's performance-based. When she can't predict your response, she becomes alert. She studies you. She adjusts herself around you. That attention is the beginning of fixation. This isn't cruelty. It's sovereignty. Most men mirror a woman's emotions. If she's happy, they're happy. If she's distant, they unravel. If she's cold, they panic. They let her mood control their inner climate. You must become your own weather system. Calm when she's chaotic. Focused when she's distant. Unmoved when she tests. The moment she realizes she can't press a button and control your state, the power dynamic flips. She starts wondering. What's going on in his head? And the moment a woman is asking that question, you're already ahead. Law 3, strategic validation, the mirror effect. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Everyone is self-focused. Everyone. Machiavelli knew this. He understood that influence doesn't come from telling people what you want, it comes from reflecting back what they crave. And what does almost everyone crave most? To be seen. To be understood. To feel like the central character. Most men try to impress women by talking about themselves. Their success. Their grind. Their achievements. They think this signals value. It actually signals insecurity. The strategic approach is the opposite. You speak less. You listen more. But not passively. You listen with precision. With intent. You ask questions no one else dares to ask. You notice contradictions. You explore motivations. Why does that matter so much to you? What are you really afraid of losing? You act tough, but what are you protecting? When you speak to someone's hidden self, something profound happens. She feels recognized. Exposed, yet safe. She calls it connection. It feels like fate. But understand what's really happening. You're holding up a mirror to her identity. Here's where the leverage exists. You control the mirror. You decide when to reflect her, and when to withdraw. Deep validation creates dependence. Withdrawal creates pursuit. She doesn't chase you. She chases the version of herself she saw through your eyes. Never waste validation on obvious things. Every man compliments beauty. Validate her effort. Her discipline. Her contradictions. Her darkness. Make her feel deeply known, not flattered. That kind of intimacy is rare. And rarity creates attachment stronger than logic. Law 4. Remove the pedestal. There's a fatal error in how you were conditioned. You were taught, by movies, culture, and well-meaning voices, that women are delicate, flawless, superior beings who must be adored. This is pedestal thinking. And it destroys attraction. If you treat someone like a celebrity, they can only treat you like a fan. Fans don't lead. Fans wait. Fans invest while hoping for access. Machiavelli warned against fantasy. Power requires seeing people exactly as they are, not as you wish them to be. She is human. She has insecurities, contradictions, bad habits, poor decisions in her past. When you worship her, she feels your inferiority. She senses that you believe she's above you. And women do not date down. By placing her on a pedestal, you step beneath her voluntarily. To correct the dynamic, you must level the ground. Disagree when you disagree. Challenge her opinions. Tease her. Call out bad behavior, calmly. When a woman is used to universal agreement, the man who says, "I don't see it that way," shocks her nervous system. It signals confidence, self-trust, internal authority. Respect is born there. She cannot respect a man she can dominate. And she cannot love a man she doesn't respect. Remove the pedestal, not to diminish her, but to invite her into reality. Stop apologizing for taking up space. Stop laughing at jokes you don't find funny. Stop nodding at ideas you don't believe. Shift the question from, "Do I qualify for her?" to, "Does she qualify for me?" Law 5. The authority of silence. Machiavelli understood a rule most people never learn. The one who speaks the least holds the most power. In negotiations, the first person to fill silence loses. In arguments, volume signals weakness. In attraction, over-explaining destroys mystery. You talk too much. You justify your choices because you fear being misunderstood. You send long messages because you want to control the narrative. You clarify because you're afraid of losing approval. Every extra word bleeds authority. Mystery cannot survive explanation. If you tell your entire story too early, you become a solved puzzle, and solved puzzles get put away. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is pressure. When she tests you. When she provokes. When she tries to pull an emotional reaction. Do nothing. Hold eye contact. Stay relaxed. Let the pause stretch. That discomfort forces her to speak. To explain. To seek reassurance. Silence signals confidence. It implies judgment. It suggests that you are evaluating her. Never announce standards. Demonstrate them. Never say, "I won't tolerate disrespect." Remove your presence when it appears. Never claim value. Act from it. Words are cheap. Silence is sovereign. Practice the pause. Before answering, wait 3 seconds. Breathe. Then respond. That microdelay disrupts emotional autopilot. It makes your words land heavier. Deliberate. Measured. Law 6. Total independence, the power to walk away. This is the final weapon. And the only one that cannot be faked. The genuine willingness to leave. Machiavelli warned leaders never to depend on goodwill, only on strength. The same applies here. If you need her, she controls you. If you prefer her but don't depend on her, you control yourself, and everything shifts. Most men stay where they're disrespected because they fear emptiness. Loneliness. The unknown. So they negotiate from weakness. They tolerate behavior they despise. They excuse manipulation. They accept less than they deserve. The moment you internalize, truly internalize, that you are the asset, fear disappears. There are billions of women. There is only one you. This isn't posturing. Women detect bluffing instantly. You must actually build a life so structured, so purposeful, so option-rich that losing her would be an inconvenience, not a collapse. When she knows you'll open the door the second your boundaries are crossed, she doesn't leave. She stays. Because strong boundaries create safety. Weak men build walls from paper. Strong men build them from stone. When your no means no, she can relax. She doesn't need to test. She doesn't need to provoke. Leadership requires direction, with or without companionship. This is the paradox of attachment. You only keep what you are willing to lose. Clench your fist, and everything escapes. Open your hand, and what belongs there remains. Build your kingdom. If she wants to stay, she respects the laws of the land. If not, the gate is open, without resentment. That energy is intoxicating. A man who cannot be controlled becomes the man others desperately try to control. And when that fails, he becomes the man they willingly submit to. The final reversal. You clicked this video seeking power over someone else. But notice the pattern. Absence. Unpredictability. Silence. Walking away. None of these control her. They discipline you. You cannot dominate another human being. You can only govern yourself with precision. Your past failures didn't come from a lack of tactics. They came from self-betrayal. You were enslaved by impulse. By craving. By fear of being alone. When you conquer those inner masters, something changes. You become gravitational. She doesn't submit to force. She submits to order. Not to anger. To stillness. The most grounded element in any room becomes the axis everything else rotates around. That isn't manipulation. That's physics. So don't leave here trying to outplay women. Leave here determined to rule your own mind. Kill the nice guy. He pretends. He bargains. He lies to be liked. Give rise to the sovereign. He is honest. He is firm. He does not chase permission. Your throne is not external. It is internal. If you're done pleading and ready to lead, say it. I choose power. The next lesson goes deeper. You've learned how to stand. Next, you learn how to move. Don't miss it. Before we end, pull back and look at the entire structure you've just been shown. This was never really about her. We framed it as influence. As leverage. As control. Because that's what gets your attention. But every principle you've learned, distance, unpredictability, silence, self-sufficiency, points inward, not outward. That's the real trick. You don't dominate people. You dominate your impulses. Most men lose not because women are cruel, but because they are internally ungoverned. They react. They chase relief. They hand over their power the moment discomfort appears. Neediness isn't love. It's panic wearing a mask. The man who is dangerous, in the psychological sense, is not loud, aggressive, or manipulative. He is regulated. He does not rush. He does not explain. He does not bargain with his own standards. When you become that man, something subtle but absolute happens. She doesn't comply because she's forced. She aligns because your presence is stable. Order attracts chaos the way gravity attracts matter. This is why shouting never commands respect. This is why emotional explosions never inspire desire. This is why pleading kills attraction instantly. Stillness wins. When you are the calmest mind in the room, every other nervous system adjusts to you. That is authority. Not dominance. Not intimidation. Orientation. People want to belong to something solid. When you stop seeking approval, you become approval. When you stop asking to be chosen, you become the reference point. This is why the nice guy fails. He is not kind, he is covertly transactional. He gives in order to receive. He agrees in order to be liked. He smiles while silently negotiating. That is not honesty. That is fear. Strength is transparent. The sovereign does not posture. He does not threaten. He does not announce his worth. He lives in alignment, and lets the world respond. So don't walk away from this trying to manipulate emotions. Walk away committed to self-rule. Govern your time. Govern your attention. Govern your standards. Govern your reactions. Do that, and influence becomes a side effect. Not because you demanded it, but because you became unmovable. You don't control people by gripping tighter. You control dynamics by being the one thing that doesn't shake. That is the final truth of power. If you're done chasing, say it, not for the algorithm, but for yourself. I choose discipline. I choose order. I choose authority. The throne was never outside you. It's been waiting for you to sit down.